Chewy.
A little.
From 2021, it's the new Star Wars streaming series, Star Wars Visions. And this, of course, is a series which incorporates anime. It's been done by several studios, anime studios in Japan. And anime is great storytelling. And I actually was looking forward to this because I thought it would be a great marriage between Star Wars and Japanese anime, because I feel like George Lucas was inspired by a lot of Japanese storytelling when he started the Star Wars saga. However, the series, we watched all 9 episodes, and I had some mixed feelings on it. There were a couple episodes I thought were strong, one that was okay. There were some other elements of other episodes that I liked. But overall, I didn't really feel like it meshed very well.
I don't watch anime. The only anime I've watched is Voltron. And so when I heard that this was anime, I thought, well, maybe it'll be like Voltron, and I really did like the storytelling of Voltron, so maybe I'll like it. Then we watched the first episode, and that one, I could not really understand it because it was all black and white except for the lights. But otherwise, it was all black and white, and I got confused who was who, and It was
a little bit difficult to follow scenically, I guess. It was difficult to follow because the black and white drawings and the frenetic pace at times, it was confusing because you didn't have the color to kind of help offset it.
Right. And after that, there was actually an episode, I think it was for Jabba's band, right? And I was actually looking forward to that one because I like the character of Jabba the Hutt, and I thought that was interesting. But I could not get through this episode.
When it talked about the fact that it was going to be Jabba's band, I thought it was going to be the Max Rebo band at Jabba's palace.
Right.
I couldn't even get through that episode. It was just so far removed. Now, on the one hand, it's cool because they're going in completely different directions than anything else in the Star Wars universe. And they're telling these unique stories from a unique point of view. So I give them points for that. I just couldn't get into this story because it just seemed like it was so foreign to the Star Wars universe because it was like this rock band. And I really wasn't following it.
Yeah, no, me neither. And the other thing is they kind of looked like kids. Some of them. They looked younger, which is okay, but
that's a big part of Japanese anime, though, is the characters look that way. And while we're on that subject, a part of the acting in anime sometimes is this yell loud style of acting. And that didn't work for me in all the episodes. Now, you mentioned The Duel. The Duel was one of the 2 that I really liked. I liked that one a lot. I also liked The Ninth Jedi, which was the story of the girl whose father was the lightsaber smith, and she turns out to be a Jedi. She's very strong in the Force. I really thought the storytelling in that one was quite good, and it felt right to the universe. The Elder was okay. I kind of liked that one. I liked the relationship between the Jedi Master and the Padawan and how they talked to each other. That one was okay. The rest of them had elements that I liked. Mostly it was the droids. I liked a lot of the droid sidekick characters. And again, since Disney took over Star Wars, I think their strength has been creating these droid characters in almost every movie and series. Usually they're uniformly strong for me.
Yes, I also really liked the droids. With the Ninth Jedi, with really all of these, especially the one with the robot, I'm not really sure which one that is.
I think that's the TO one.
Yeah.
The cybernetic boy. It was like a Pinocchio story. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, that one. With all of these, I think it had a common thing where there was a Jedi in it. And I didn't really like that because to me a Jedi is a special thing in the Star Wars universe. Not a lot of people are Jedis, there's very few, and now there's barely any at all, right? And they're saying that all of these people are Jedis and we don't know them, but I don't know, I just don't think that they should be Jedis because I think being a Jedi is special.
Now, a few things with that. In some cases, these are alternate timelines. But that wasn't easy to figure out unless you read that in a description.
Right.
It really wasn't clear in the story itself that it was an alternate timeline or where exactly it was set, if it was within the regular Star Wars timeline.
Right.
I will say that George Lucas pretty much patterned Obi-Wan Kenobi after a samurai, which is a Japanese warrior. And he actually wanted a Japanese actor for that role in the original film, and then settled for Alec Guinness. Of course, Alec Guinness is wonderful, and you can't really think of Star Wars without it. But definitely, I think the Japanese culture in the samurai lends itself to Jedi. So that makes sense. Another big thing in here were the Kyber Crystals. Kyber Crystals were huge in a lot of these stories. So I think they were taking elements that they found interesting, and also that George Lucas sort of pulled from Japanese culture when he was developing the mythology of Star Wars. So that made sense, but I get where you're coming from. Some of these characters, too many characters and too many different types of characters were Jedi.
Right.
Like the cybernetic boy was the biggest issue.
Yes.
How can a robot feel the Force?
Right. That was one of the biggest questions for me. And after that episode, I was just like, I was a little bit disappointed in Star Wars because I don't like how, because in a way, he's kind of like a droid. A different version of a droid. And droids can't use lightsabers that I know of.
Well, they can use lightsabers, but not the Force.
Right. They're not Jedi. And so that one confused me a lot, but I don't know.
It really was sort of a Pinocchio story, is how it started, and I don't know, I didn't quite understand it. Now there was another one called, I think it was called Lop and Ocho. I think that might have been the title.
Yes.
That one had potential, and I was interested in that, and I liked the fact that I think it was Lop was the one from a different planet, and she was adopted into the family and became Ocho's sister, and then Ocho turned on her father. Her father was against the Empire, but she ultimately is looking out for the family and the future of the clan, and she joins the Empire in order to ensure the future of the clan. And so she and Lop battle each other. The problem I had in that episode was whoever was voicing Ocho, she just kept yelling her dialogue. And I felt like there was no interpretation of the character. It was just kind of yelling loudly. Again, I know that's sort of a trope of anime, certain anime. I just didn't think it worked here because I really couldn't get into the character.
I agree, but I did actually like that episode a lot more than other episodes in this series. And I think that if there was a part 2 to the episode, I would watch it. Whereas if there was a part 2 to many of the other episodes, I don't think I would want to watch it.
The twins one, I thought was going to be really interesting. It started out and I thought, is this a dark side version of Luke and Leia? Mm-hmm. In fact, you even remarked that the one character sounded like Luke. Mm-hmm. And it was developing that way. Again, there was a lot of yell acting, we'll call it, in that particular episode. And I'm not quite sure that I understood where it was going. A lot of these ended in a way where I guess it was thought-provoking, but I really didn't get it.
Yeah.
I was sort of disappointed in that episode. I thought that episode had potential. And I liked sort of the alternate reality, the alternate version of a Luke and Leia twin story, even though it wasn't Luke and Leia. They were raised to be dark side right from the start and to, serve the dark side.
Right.
I thought that was interesting. I just didn't really care for where the story went.
Yes. That story was confusing for me too. There was even like a dark side CP3O, it seemed like to me. It sounded like that anyway. But
yes, and there was a version of C3PO in there, and there was a version of R2D2.
Right.
Different, but the same, similar. It reminded you. I think it was really supposed to remind you of them. Yes.
We never got the names of any characters in here. I don't think that I remember, at least, and that kind of confused me a little bit. I guess you are supposed to ask questions in the series, but that I think should have been dealt with a little bit.
They did give you the names. It was in the C3PO style character who gave us a ton of exposition. And that's why you didn't catch it, because there was so much expository dialogue by that character that it was almost ridiculous. From a writing standpoint, it was like you couldn't find a better way to get this material across. Yeah. We need this information, but to have this protocol droid just spew it all out was boring.
I think that says something, though, because if I didn't catch what he said at all, then I think that they need to like redo that somehow, or they should have. I don't
disagree. You know, here's the deal. As far as anime goes, I like old anime. That's what I got into when Battle of the Planets came here, which was Science Team Gatchaman retooled for a United States for an American audience. I like Battle of the Planets. I like the original Voltron, although I like the DreamWorks Voltron far better, because the original for me, you know, when he would form Voltron and you get the music, that was the best part of it in the old one. But the new one had great storytelling and great world building. Star Blazers, which was Space Battleship Yamato, that had great world building and great storytelling. I think here they were trying to do something interesting, very different. I give them points for that. I felt like it was only partially successful. For me, the duel, the Ninth Jedi, those were the most successful out of the 9 episodes. There were a couple others where I think I mentioned the Elder, the Lop and Ocho I liked parts of. I really liked some of the droid characters, but for the most part, 5 or 6 of the episodes, I couldn't get through the one with the bride. I tried 3 times. I fell asleep every time. I couldn't
don't
get through
understand what that had to do with Star Wars. There was no lightsabers.
Well, we didn't get that far because we couldn't get through it. There might have been.
But so far, what we got through, I didn't understand how it was Star Wars. I think it maybe could have been for something else.
And you know, you can say that we're not being fair because we didn't get through the bride episode. I tried 3 times. I really did. And maybe it's not fair of us to critique it because we didn't get all the way through it. But I think that's the thing. I'm critiquing it because I couldn't get through it. And it was the same thing with the band one. I didn't want to watch any more of it after a while. I wasn't into it. I couldn't get through it. So that's my critique. If I didn't get through it and I missed something, that's my problem. But I didn't care for it. Overall, for me, the series didn't have enough strong episodes in it to recommend it. So I would give it 1 to flee, almost to a 1 for free, because those other couple episodes I thought were good, but not good enough to recommend the whole thing.
Right. I think the main episode that I liked was the Ninth Jedi. The other episodes were either confusing or I couldn't get through them. And the series overall really didn't have an ending. And even the episodes didn't really have an ending. So I'm going to give this a 1 to flee, but a little bit towards a 1 for free, because I did like the Ninth Jedi episode.
Fair enough. This did say season 1, so I think there will be a season 2. We'll see where they go with it. Again, you know, they're artists, they're craftspeople, they're trying to do something different, and I give them points for that. They did achieve something different. For me, I really couldn't get into the storytelling of most of the episodes. A few of them, though, I did like. See what I did there?
Oh, Daddy.